So let me warmly introduce James to everyone. He is our guest speaker today. So James and I go way back. We both worked at Wales English together, and we've actually in a little community of teachers who have been supporting each other as independent teachers since that happened in August 2021. So James is now actually the founder of, I'm going to pronounce it wrong. Is it Onglish? How is it? On English?
on Lingish.
On Lingish, sorry about that. I wasn't sure how to pronounce it. On Lingish. And he actually does his own training specifically with a few things. So like you help with Zoom training in particular, and you're looking at going into Cambridge exams as well. Like what do you actually do? Maybe you can just introduce that aspect of your business. And I know at the end, you're also going to give links to people that they can check out your details as well.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So as Jess said, we were working with Chinese kids in Wales English. I was actually doing, because I'm living in Madrid in Spain, so I was actually doing a lot of Cambridge exams with both kids, both all kids, teenagers and adults. So I was working at different language schools, and I've been doing that for about 15 years. And they asked me to do a little bit of training because new teachers were coming into the schools, and they had a teaching qualification, but they didn't have that expertise in the Cambridge exams, which was here in Spain, at least it's 95% of the courses that the academies offer. So that's where my journey started as a teacher trainer in the Cambridge English exams. Just as out of interest, who here has experience already with Cambridge exams? And if you do have experience, what exams do you have experience in? Yep.
You can maybe just raise your hand or write it in the chat. Tatiana, do you want to go first?
Well, yeah, I don't have, I'm finishing up a six TEFL 60-hour level 5 course certificate for IELTS in Cambridge. So I'm just finalizing the final exam. So I don't have actual, experience with students, but I've been educating myself about IELTS in Cambridge.
Right. Okay. Will?
I'm here to listen and learn.
Okay. All right. Great. Yeah. So it can be a little bit mind-boggling. There's a lot of different exams, and there's IELTS. That's also a Cambridge exam. So I'm going to try and give a broad summary of the differences. I can't go into too much detail about the different exams, but it's a very useful specialization to have. With Chinese ones, I didn't get much interest in these exams. 1 or 2 students asked me about it. But you'll find as the kids get older, they'll start to ask more. Because it's when they're older is when the universities start to ask for these exams, and they need an assessment of their English abilities.
I found particularly for the PET exam, because kids want that to be able to go to like high schools or like international high schools. So I've worked with a lot of students who are looking to go overseas or to go into an international high school within China, and they want a PET exam to show what their level of English is. So that's what I've found with a lot of my students. And some people just want it because, it shows their level of English and where they're at. Do you find, James, that you get paid more for when you prepare someone for an exam compared to when you're just doing normal English?
Yeah, definitely. Compared to a conversation class, I mean, you're doing the conversation anyway when you're practicing the speaking, so you're just adding extra. And that can be a way to negotiate and increase your price with the parents. Also, you're gonna probably have more group interest with these particular classes. It's much easier to find parents who are looking for PET groups or KET groups. Tatiana, did you have a question?
Yes, thank you. So just to have an idea, how much are you able to charge in Spain for one-on-one, for test prep, one-on-one and group classes?
I mean, here in Spain, it's a little bit less than what the Chinese would pay.
Right.
But you're looking for anything between 15 euros to 30 euros for a one-to-one per hour.
Okay. And for a group?
For a group class in the language schools here, they have a maximum of 12 students in a physical classroom. Online, you can increase that, I suppose. And they're all paying monthly, they're paying between 70 euros to 150 euros per month, each student.
For how many classes a week?
It's usually 2 hours per week. 1 hour on Tuesday, 1 hour on the Thursday, or 1 hour on the Monday, 1 hour on the Wednesday.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so I mean, you do the math, you can really get a good income if you can get these group classes.
Mhm. Great, thank you.
All right, I'm going to share my presentation, Jess.
Great,
If
go for it.
if anybody has a question, just interrupt me. I don't mind if you're interrupting my flow. Just put up your hand up, Jess. Maybe you can let me know because I'm not sure if I can see it from.
Sure. If something
from
comes
here.
up in the chat, I'll interrupt you.
Okay. All right. So yeah. Okay. Can you see that?
Yes.
Right. So this is, I like this drawing because it gives you the step-by-step guide to all the exams, basically. So we're going to go through today kids, teenagers, and adults. So basically, you see the little monkey down the bottom. So, and in yellow where it says YLE, this is Young Learners English. And those are exams for the small kids, primary school. I'm gonna talk about them first, but you have the levels. So the first level is not even a level, it's very, very basic. It's pre-A1. And then you've got A1, A2. Okay, for the very small kids primary school. Okay, and this is an example of, wait, I've gone into the annotation, right. This is an example of one of the official books from Cambridge University Press, because was going to talk today about curriculum. This is basically a book of past papers, which is one of the books that I would recommend to invest in order to start preparing students for this exam. So I have a file here. I'm going to go out of this share. I'm going to go into another share.
Can you send us a link for that by any chance? Or?
Yeah, I'll send it after Jess. I'll send you the PowerPoint.
Thanks.
All right, you can download this. This is a sample paper of all the 3 kids exams. You can download this on the Cambridge website. Okay, so yeah, you see the first one, and this is exactly how they would sit the exam, writing their name on this page. Okay, the first thing they do is listening.
I know this picture so well.
Yeah, it's with the starters, the very basic one. It's a little bit tricky to apply it to the online setting.
It is. How would you suggest do that, if I might interrupt? Sorry, guys.
The challenge you have is to get them to annotate.
Right. I'm more specifically, more specifically asking, as a group, how would you handle it in an online setting with a group? Because there might be so many answers, and there are so many things, so many areas for them to explore or to use language, because they might be really, really eager to.
Okay.
I hope this is something someone else also wants to know. I'm sorry if I'm taking up too much time.
No, it's a great question.
No, good question, Will. Yeah, thanks. So yeah, just for the people who don't know this part, you listen, and they'll say, "Pat is the boy with the cat," and you can see at the bottom there, Pat. What the students must do is draw the line to the boy with the cat. Okay, so you've got different people. Who's Jill? Who's Dan? Who's Nick? Who's Lucy? So to answer Will's question, to apply this with all of the students having the ability to annotate on the screen, you say, student 1, find Sue. Student 2, find Anne. Student 3, find Lucy. Okay, and then they listen and they say, Nick is in the tree. Good job, student 4. Or Anne is reading a book. Okay, the challenge you've got is you need to prepare them before and show them how to annotate, how to draw those lines. Because in a physical setting, they're using pencils and pens to draw the lines. Okay.
So when I start my classes with kids that I don't know, I always get them to try and write their name and text their name on the screen, just as a way for them to know. I know that they can use the annotation tools. That's just one way that I do it.
That's very helpful. Yeah.
There's another one similar where they color. So it's another challenge. You need to show them how to change color. Like I'm doing it here with this, and I've got my list of colors. And it says something like, color the duck blue. And they need to, draw on the screen. The physical class, again, they do with their crayons. So there's ways of getting around the online setting.
DC
okay, yeah.
and Tatiana both have questions.
Yep.
Well, it's more like a suggestion because I teach group classes in the current setting that I'm in right now. And we do assessments every 5 classes or so. We have to do an assessment. And what we do is usually like you take just a couple of minutes. Kids are usually tech friendly and they would know, like if you just showed them how to change colors, they would. So in the beginning of every assessment, what I do is assign colors to each student so that I know like who's moving what, right? And then in the beginning of like, we get those a lot. So what we say is, please listen to your name and listen to the instructions from the teacher and please follow through and annotate, okay? For example, student A, I don't know, let's say Jason. Jason, please find Sue. Sue is the person that's listened to who Sue is. What is Sue doing? So, Jason would listen to what Sue is doing and would annotate, and I would have everybody else try to help me correct that. You guys, do you agree? Is Jason correct? So, let me see a show of hands. And if somebody disagrees, I would have that person, okay, show me with your color. So I know who's doing what. Show me with your color. And I would also only enable coloring for the one person who's concerned so that nobody else is actually meddling with them. And so, that is how I manage my group classes. So I hope that helps.
Yeah, great. Good suggestion.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Lucy.
Thank you
Okay,
for that.
Tatiana's got a hand up. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm not tech savvy enough to know how to do this. I mean, Jess has talked about co-browsers and like having the students do this. I don't know how to do that. So is that something is this a Zoom thing? Is this something that would be covered in like your classes about Zoom, or where can I get the text? Where can I learn to become tech savvy?
James, great question. How could you learn how to get better at Zoom or VooV? I think you're particularly VooV. I don't know if you do Zoom.
I mean, what I would say, Tatiana, is you don't really need to be it. All you're doing is pressing a button that gives the students the ability to annotate. And those students are going to do it for you.
Oh, what button?
I think
Where do I learn?
If I might.
Yeah, Will.
I think what Tatiana is saying basically is that literally she doesn't know how to do it. And I would suggest to practice. Simply have a practice class by yourself, get someone who's next to you and link into your Zoom account and say, listen, if I press this button, what do you see on your screen? Does this make sense? If I say this to you, does it make sense for you to press this button? Can I see it on my screen? Does it produce the same results? To get to learn how to work these tools, because essentially all of these things work the same way, basically.
Oh, okay. I Google a lot.
Yeah. So Tatiana, just a quick comment there. In the master course and in the 4-week challenge, we do have a lesson on Voov. So that is in setting up your software. And I think if you watch that video, the task afterwards is to go into Voov and to play around with the settings. And Voov is very, very, very similar to Zoom.
Okay, great.
Cool.
Thank you so much.
Okay. All right. So yeah, just all the listings have different parts. So this is the first part. The second part, they're writing different things. This is another challenge online. They could maybe scribble it, or they could write it in paper next to their desk. But it's a bit of a challenge online. They listen and write the answers. It's very easy. They spell it out for you. So if it's price like Jess, they'll say PRI. And it's very slow. It's very easy because this is still the pre-A1 level.
May I suggest something? I'm sorry. So
yes,
what I've also done in the past, and it has helped a lot, like in my very first lesson, I take about a minute or two to just chat with parents and try to help prepare the parents so that they can help me prepare the child. So one of the things I ask the parents to bring is, a dry erase whiteboard, like a small one, and a small marker. So like if there is, and I usually use that with children like who are just learning phonics, like small children, so that like we can learn how to write an A, especially those children who have a different alphabet than the alphabet that we know. And so like I teach them, I tell them like some techniques, how to write A and B and how to write their names. And that has helped. Like better than having a piece of paper and a pen or a pencil. It might be too thin and you won't be able to read it. The small dry erase board works wonders. And you can dry it, you can erase it and like redo it again. It helps. That's just something that has worked for me. Okay,
great. Yeah. You see, even teachers have them, don't they? The little whiteboard where you have the marker, and yeah, great. Okay, yeah, so part 3.
Masters at writing behind ourselves.
Yeah. And try and do it with when you're looking in the camera at the same time. And sometimes you have to do it backwards.
Yeah.
All right, so yeah, this is multiple choice listenings. Very easy like this. Which dog is Anna's? Might say it's gray or it's not gray. Part 4 is the one I was talking about with Will. So they interact with this by coloring in different things that appear in the picture. So in the physical class, they've got their crayons. They always see an example. And they have to color it. Color this blue, color that yellow, color the cake purple. To adapt that to an online class, I would just stop it, wait for them to color whatever they think they need to color and play again. If not, it could go a bit quick for them to respond. Okay.
May I just go back to if you just go back a little bit about that thing about color this blue, color this yellow. Would you, especially at this level, would you suggest asking them to produce some kind of language? I colored this blue, or just have them do the action, or just
because this is purely listening.
All right, so it's just the action.
Yeah, they don't say anything if they want to
say
something.
They don't produce language at this stage.
No, it's just testing their ability to listen and understand simple instructions. Okay.
So I've kind of bribed them with this, to be very honest. Like I would tell them, like it is a part of what we're going to do anyway, but I don't tell them that. I tell them that if they do good and if they really listen to me, we're going to get to color at the end. So are you going to listen to me so we can color at the end? Yeah. Okay, let's do that. And so that
Okay,
way,
good. Yeah, reward.
they think they don't realize that they're actually, you know, this is a test. They think that they did really well, and this is why we're doing this.
Okay. Yeah, so that's just the basic listening. Then the other part of starters is reading and writing. So it's pretty straightforward. They just say yes or no, put an X or a tick. And this one, they look at the picture, say yes or no. This one, they write the word, so they have a little guide here to help them. Then here, it's a little bit more challenging. They need to find and write the missing words, which are provided. Part 5, they need to respond. What are the children playing with? Some toy spiders. Okay, and respond to the story. Okay, what I wanted to talk about speaking because I don't actually do this speaking in my classes, but all of my classes with my Chinese kids, I do young learners speaking because I think it's what the Chinese kids need. They're all wanting to speak more, have better conversation. So before I do my normal classes with Reach Higher or Oxford, we do the speaking. But I don't do starters because what you should do really is cut these pictures out in a physical class and put them somewhere in this image. So they say, this is where they need to speak a little bit. What is this? It's a robot. And then because it's very basic, you just say, put the robot on the table next to the banana. And they put it on the table. I don't do it because it's something extremely difficult to apply to an online class. Unless you have something like, what's the name of that platform, Jess, with the drag and drop?
Yeah.
Yeah, Koala Go might have something similar where they can drag it across. But yeah, that's basically the first level, starters. And then movers is the next level. You have starters, movers, flyers. So this, if they do the movers exam, they get the A1 if they are successful. So yeah, it's very similar. You have the same listening, a little bit more advanced, obviously. This one is a little bit different with different family. What is their hobby? So here you have her parents is H. They like sailing, and you match the different hobbies to the different family members. Again, multiple choice, coloring, and reading and writing, also similar. Okay, you have the different people. You got to put them into the place. Multiple choice. Okay, most of this, I mean, you can download this, and it's pretty self-explanatory to look at. Okay, I want to skip to the speaking because of, I think it was Tatiana's question, like how to place the different students. So let me flip this around. So when you get to this level A1, you're looking for them to express differences from one picture to another picture. So in this one, there's probably 5 differences. And I do this with my students before every class, well, at the start of every class, because it's a good way to practice. For example, there are 5 fish. Okay, something like that is something that I do every class because they always go back to the water have. They don't like to say there are. So there are 5 fish in picture 1. There are 4 fish in picture 2. Okay, if I've got a group class, well done, next person. Can you find the difference? Yeah, there's a ball on the water. There's a boat on the water. So you're looking for them to use more prepositions. Maybe say on the left, on the right. There is, there are. The bottles is in front of and behind. So you're using those competencies more. The second part of the mover speaking is they speak and tell a story by speaking. I usually take turns with this. Introduce the character Fred. What's happening in picture one was.
I did this last week. So.
Yeah, and they'll explain what's happening. There are 4 people on the table. The girl is eating. The boy is talking. Okay, you're looking for them to use present simple, present continuous to describe the story. And yeah, this one is odd one out. So which one is different and why? Usually I've got Ethan, I'll say Ethan. I've got Lucas, I'll say Lucas. Ethan will say maybe, this one is different. Say number 4, I say why? And it becomes more challenging for them to explain why. If I need to, I'll prompt them. I'll say, picture 1, he is painting. And then they usually get it. She is painting, picture 2. He is painting his bike, picture 3. She is not painting. She is buying. Okay, so you're testing them in how they can find the difference. It's big and small. They don't know the vocabulary, they're just going to say picture 1 is big, picture 3 is big. So I always challenge them more. The whale is big. Okay. So yeah, I do one of those 3 speakings I do at the beginning of like a beginner class when I have kids about 7 years old, 8 years old. Okay, flyers. Let me flip this back over. So flyers is the last level on the young learners English. So the kids typically will be 10, 11, possibly transitioning to middle school, unless they've been studying English since they were like a baby. So they already have a good level. All right, so I'm going to skip to the speaking again because I wanted to highlight the differences. Okay, so you have the same speaking as in movers, but with more differences. Okay. Okay, you can see it there. Do you see that, Jess?
I can see clearly on my part.
Okay, well, yeah. Yeah, so the vocabulary is a little bit more advanced. They might need to say things like roller skating or the weatherman.
Right.
And there are more differences to find.
And would
more
I be right to say that I would expect them to produce a more grammatically correct sentence at this point, whereas fish and bowl would have been a difference previous stage, where I would expect them here to say, well, the weatherman is wearing a different color.
Yeah.
Would that be on par with this level?
Yeah, at this stage, you've got with the movers one, the A1, you've got, for example, one woman, one man, one girl, one boy. Here you've got 2 or 3 men. So I would expect them to say things like, the man in the red and white shirt in picture 1 is, I'm not even sure if that's a different, yeah. The weatherman in picture 1 has a red and white shirt. The weatherman in picture 2 has a blue and white shirt. Yeah, it's, you're getting more into that. It's more, possibly more present continuous rather than present simple. So
Yeah.
he is carrying
Hmm.
a bowl of fruits. He is carrying some orange juice. All right. Okay, this is when to do this part of the exam, you need 2 students. And it's very good if you have students who need to practice asking questions. I always struggled with, when we worked at Wales English, they always said, get the students to ask questions to each other. And I always said at the beginning, okay, let's talk about, I don't know, Chinese New Year. And it was a bit of a struggle to get them to ask questions, personal questions.
But Happy New Year for everyone in Asia, by the way.
Yeah. So I introduced this to my classes, and it was a game changer.
Yeah.
Because it was much easier for them to ask non-personal questions than personal questions. So generally I'll do Lucas and Ethan again. I'll say, Lucas, you ask the questions, Ethan, you answer. Lucas maybe says, what is Robert's favorite restaurant name? Okay, it's acceptable. Depending on the student, I might correct them. What's the name of? And it's something that I repeat every week. Then the student asks, the name is the Black Cat, or the restaurant is called the Black Cat. Okay, it's a good opportunity to practice does questions and doesn't in your answers. He does, she does, third person, singular. My Chinese students always get confused with is and does. So they'll say this one. What does it cheap? Instead of, is it cheap or expensive? The other one, it is expensive, it is cheap. And I do the opposite. So whoever answered the questions before then asks the questions. Depending on who's the strongest student always asks the questions first. Okay, because it's easier. Sometimes I write them down so they have a guide. And the last part of the flyer speaking is tell a story, a more advanced story than, but very similar to the movers. Okay, and that's pretty much everything from Young Learners English. Going back to my presentation. So one thing to take into account, they do the Young Learners exam and there's no fail. It's impossible to fail. So they just get some points here. Say, congratulations, you have passed. And they get like 3 or 4 for reading, 3 for listening, 2 for speaking, for example. But they always pass. All right, so if you're teaching young kids, primary school age, elementary school age, it's those 3 exams. Okay, I'll talk later about curriculum. Okay, I want to talk about these 2. Sorry, these 3. Okay, KET or KEY, sometimes it's called PET or preliminary. This is B1. And FCE or first exam is B2. Okay, so these three exams always have for schools and normal for adults. So for schools are usually you'd have teenagers doing it. I've got one in China studying this. She's 10, so a little bit younger maybe. So you have the 2 options, and for schools, for teenagers, and for adults. And these exams correspond to the, I'm not sure how big you can see this, Jess. We don't hear you, Jess, you're on mute.
I've
I
got a
think if you
big
size it a little
screen,
bit
so I can
down,
see it.
works really, really well.
Maybe I can make it.
Could you please show, you'll show that the stairs again, right? Oh,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah, that's better, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, what we've talked about so far is the young learners, so the very basic English. So this is what we've talked about here. Okay, corresponds to this. Okay, so you can see here, AT key for schools, B1 for schools, B2 for schools. So the A2 key for schools is actually the same level as flyers. But you have the possibility, if you do exceptionally well, to enter B1. When you finish the exam, you're awarded different grades. Grade A, grade B, and grade C. Grade D, you could also get, and you drop down to A1. Okay, so this is, you're looking at teenagers, and if you have teenagers, I'd recommend finding a curriculum for teenagers, especially if you have groups. Okay, because you're gonna want it to be relevant to them. So one that I use is Think. I'm not sure if you've used that, Jess.
Yeah, Think, Compact.
Yeah, if you see Think, you'll see Think A1, Think A2, and it corresponds to these levels at the top.
And just say what the CEFR is, just explain that.
Okay, the CEFR is basically the level test. So anytime you mention A1, A2, B1, B2, it's the European way to assess somebody's English level.
Which is quite globally known.
Yeah.
So it's not just for Europe. It's like in China, this is, you know, the assessment reference that what it's called. It's global.
Sometimes they'll tell you, especially if you've got Asian students, they'll tell you their IELTS score.
Oh, okay.
Because these A2 exams, B1, it's globally recognized, like you say, Jess, but Europeans will know it better.
We'll know Cambridge better or else.
Well, IELTS is actually Cambridge as well.
That's why all the textbooks I was looking for were provided by Cambridge, but nowhere in the course I take does it say that.
Yeah, IELTS is a specific exam for students, university students from, for example, China, who want to go to university in the USA or England. And the university asks them for a specific IELTS level. To get into Harvard, you need a 8. Okay, so they're doing the exam for a specific purpose. That's IELTS academic. IELTS general is for people who want to get a visa to live or work in USA or Australia.
Can I interrupt with a very quick question, James? Someone asked me, if a Chinese person wants to go on a volunteer visa or a work visa to the States for like summer camp, do they need an IELTS test? And I was like, I don't actually know.
It's possible, yeah, but with it being volunteer, maybe.
I don't think for volunteering.
Possibly not, but yeah, there's a lot of interest.
I don't think it would be required, but would definitely help.
I think it's more permanent visa usually, but that's how I've heard of it. Anyway, someone asked me that yesterday, and I was like, I don't actually know. Anyway,
No idea. Yeah.
Okay,
right.
as you're showing us the Common European Framework, for me, I mostly know that for the kids and for schools, and then usually with IELTS, I usually refer to band levels for adults. Typically, that's like usually what I would typically reference.
Right, but when you say band levels, what?
So with IELTS, band 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah.
Yeah, IELTS is a completely different kettle of fish, as you say. which would need another presentation, but you basically have textbooks, a lot of textbooks with emphasis. We will go from 5.5 to 6.5. Like, we will take your skills from 5.5 to 6.5. I just had one student in IELTS where she needed to get an 8 or 8.5 in order to be accepted in a Canadian university. But you can just go across and you can see the different levels. Okay.
May I ask
IELTS.
a question, James?
Yeah, Will.
How do you I understand the pre-A, A1, A2 levels, and I understand how that can be grouped together. I can very much see how that can work together. But when it comes to someone very much asking you specifically, I need to increase my, like Jess said, my band level from 6.5 to 7. Is that still something feasible to do as a group, in your opinion? Or
Yeah,
in Jess's
definitely.
opinion as well?
Definitely. It would depend, because if they do the IELTS exam, they're gonna have their results similar to this. Can I delete this, Jess?
Yeah, is it?
Yeah,
You should be
okay.
able to delete it. Yeah.
This is actually for one of the Cambridge exams, for either for teenagers, for schools, or for adults. And you can see that they have different marks for different abilities.
I do. I see.
Okay, so you're gonna see if they've done the IELTS before and they didn't get the band mark they needed, you're gonna see where their weakness is. Okay, and you can apply a book, like take you from 5.5 to 6.5 in listening, or in writing, or in speaking.
So I guess my specific question is, what book would you then, in this situation, recommend?
I'm not that specialized in IELTS, but I have seen some specific books. I always recommend, for all of these exams, 3 books.
There we go.
The first one on the left is an exam past paper book. The one in the middle is for grammar and vocabulary, and the third one is a course book. So they'll need, for any of these Cambridge exams, to pass it, the 3 books. Because in the course book, there's not sufficient material for them to pass. Usually, as a general rule, if they want to increase a level, it's 2 years of 3-hour per week study. Okay, or if they're doing something very intensively, they could do it in a year, and it always depends on the person. But
Yeah. So that's what I explained on Monday, is why I use something like a Bridge Academy to take you that whole stretch of a year or 2 years even between when you're doing the exams. Because once you pass like the starters exam, you don't have enough material with past papers and those Cambridge books to then get you to the next level. You have to fill it up with other content to prepare them for the next one.
Yeah, so also it depends on the country, because where I'm living in Spain, people tend to go for these exams because they're it's a work-related exam, so it's a level that is requested in both public jobs and private jobs.
Right.
So in Spain, nothing below this level really matters. So there's no point really in doing an official exam.
Mm.
The majority here in Spain are looking for this level or this level. So they're saying first or C1. The rest of them are using this as a guide to see their progress, basically. And you have academies that say, okay, you're B2 basic, and then a year passes, you're B2 advanced, and they can see their level progressing over time.
Can I interrupt, James? I saw that Goran mentioned something in the chat which relates to that. His question is, he put into ChatGPT, and is it correct? Here's an overview of the possible outcomes of a KET exam. If you pass with distinction, it shows a high level performance. If you pass with merit, it shows a good performance. And if you pass with a pass, it's a satisfactory performance. Is that the language that they're using for all of the exams or not?
No, because this is distinction, grade A. So you're looking key for schools.
Yeah.
KET. If they get a grade A in KET, and these respond to the scale. So a grade A is 80% or higher as a general score. Later, they can get 90% in speaking, 70 in the reading, and average 80. But a distinction over 80 is grade A. They actually get awarded B1. And in spite of taking the A2 exam, they get a B1. And pass is grade C. A low A2. Does that answer your question?
Yeah. Yeah, I think if there's any questions relating to Cambridge exams, I would strongly encourage go to the website for answers, because they usually can give more accurate answers for that. Yeah. James, I know we've got another question in the chat. Do you want to keep going and I'll take questions at the end, because I think it's important for you to get through your presentation. So okay, all right. So we're not being rude, we're not ignoring you. Let's take questions at the end.
The last thing I wanted to do, because I'm not going to be able to go into the other exams in detail today, is just explain the curriculum and how you can find the curriculum and the suitable curriculum. So I basically use 3 publishers. Cambridge, okay, they do the exam, so they have their own books. And I'm just going to go into the website and show you how to find that. No, this one, no. All right. So in the Cambridge, you'll need to, I go directly into the Spanish site. So you'll need to find your own, depending on the location you are. You'll find a catalog on their site. And you're going to go down to exams. And you click exams. You're going to see exam specific course books, which are going to prepare the students to pass this exam. Okay, Fun for Starters, also have Fun for Movers and Fun for Flyers. Okay, you go a little bit down, you're going to see some of the adult books, Complete Advanced. They also do Complete First for schools, Complete PET. Open World is a newer one. It's completely, they have like a very good presentation pack to be used digitally.
Can I interrupt and ask that question? Do you use the classroom, the digital classroom for this, or do you just buy the PDFs and go with the PDFs?
With the Open World, I had the presentation pack. It's useful, especially if you're not so tech savvy. It's very easy. You just press the button and it plays the video. You don't have to go looking for the video.
So that would be a PDF?
No, presentation pack.
James, may I also ask a related question to what just asked? You said it's a presentation tool. Is it can you open it in a browser, or you open it in an app, so you'd need to share your screen and the student cannot click and drag and drop and things like that? in, let's say, Koala Go, because I bought something like that, Our World from National Geography, and I thought, okay, I can. It's interactive, but it actually isn't interactive. It's just an app that you install on your desktop and you open it. You can just share it, and that's it. So you cannot use it at the same
Good
time.
question. Good question. I know
Like when you
Oxford.
open world, is it like a software you install on your PC, or
You can do both. So you can have it on your PC as an app, or you can use the website. They recommend you use the app because the website can sometimes be down and is
so? But you
slower.
can use it online. Yeah, there's an
Yeah.
online version. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. What about the others? Do any of the other textbooks, if you know, have their online interactive versions, like where
Yeah.
students can click open, see a video, click this, click that, blah blah blah.
Yeah. All of them have them now. It's all the latest edition, like this Fun for Starters is the 4th edition now. So they all have their presentation packs.
And they can all be used online.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, James. Sorry for interrupting you.
No problem.
James did tell me he's only got till the hour. So we've got 5 minutes left, James, and I want to honor that. I don't want to take up more of your time.
Okay, just quickly then, Oxford University Press, even though you think Oxford and Cambridge, they're in competition, they do have their own exam, but they also prepare for the Cambridge exam. So they have curriculum and books for all levels. And one that I personally like is Macmillan. Macmillan are like independent. They have some amazing books, especially for teenagers. And on this website, you can find a very easy color coordinated list. So you go into exam prep and you can find specific course books ready for IELTS. See, this is recommended. Okay, Jess, yeah, I'm finished, Jess.
Okay, awesome. So I know that I think a lot of us have still got questions and I can stay on to answer some of those, but I'm going to let James go. James, I think it would be great if me and you can just connect with the links that you've shared with us so that we can maybe all go follow up. Like there's Macmillan, Oxford's and Cambridge catalogs. And then I'll upload that with the recording. Okay.
Okay. All right.
Thank you, James.
No problem.
Thanks
Good
so
luck.
much, James. Thanks so
Good
much.
luck,
Thank you,
everybody.
Thanks. Cheers. Bye,
Bye
James.
now.
Bye.
Thanks, James. Bye.
Cheers. Cheers.